Yes, hello. I'm Tim Moody. I'm President and CEO of Pan Global Resources. Pan Global is a copper exploration company with projects in Spain. Our main project is in the Iberian Pyrite Belt called the Escacena project, but we're continuing to grow our portfolio of opportunities elsewhere in Spain as well.
Tim, thank you for the introduction. Good to see you again. I know you just did an interview with Matt probably a month ago when you were in Beaver Creek, and lots of questions came from that. Matt actually asked me, he said, Merlin, he asked me if I could kind of get into the model a bit better and kind of understand what you've kind of got geologically. And I thought, rather than going into the depths of a geological rabbit hole, I would actually bring it back a bit. I mean, you work with Rio Tinto, right? And you've got a long history with Rio Tinto.
24 years with Rio Tinto, 18 years in exploration, and now 40 years in the mining industry.
Okay,
so,
well,
yeah.
So this will come as no news to you. I mean, you'll obviously remember the retired head of exploration, David Klinger, who had that lovely mantra, which I always, and I still use to this day, as a not that I was there in the day, but I find it a very useful reference point, which is kind of the three things, which is the size of the prize. What are we actually looking for here? The two is the second point is the cost of the test. How much money is going to be needed to get through that next critical milestone, and what's it going to achieve? And then the third one is your chance of success. So if it's okay, I'd like to just kind of go through those three things almost at kind of a top-down level. First of all, the size of the prize. And perhaps could you just set the scene a bit, because you're in the Iberian Pyrite Belt. There are plenty of history, there's a long history, 2,000 years of mining there, possibly more, back to the Romans and beyond. What are we looking at in the Iberian Pyrite Belt, in VMSs in general, and around the world?
Yes.
Go.
For sure. So the size of the prize, I guess, is the big driver of why companies go to the Iberian Pyrite Belt to begin with, because in the world of VMS deposits, volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits, there's really no equal to the Iberian Pyrite Belt in terms of the scale of deposits and the number of what these super giant VMS deposits weigh, those with greater than 100 million tonnes. And of course, there are two or three of those in the Iberian Pyrite Belt with greater than 200 million tonnes, which is really very big, extraordinary for a volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit. So, so the size of the prize is the lure, and has been the lure for exploration in the Iberian Pyrite Belt for many decades. So, in fact, during part of my career with Rio Tinto, I was running Rio Tinto's exploration in the Iberian Pyrite Belt, and that was just after the company had discovered the Las Cruces deposit. Rio Tinto were also operating the Neves Corvo mine at that stage. Again, one of these phenomenal ore bodies, very copper-rich with high tin, etc. So, and when I was running that program, we made a couple of additional discoveries, one of which has already been mined and another one still being explored. And it became the largest exploration program anywhere in the world at that time. So, this is an area that's attracted major interest for many years. So, and that's because of the size of the prize for that type of deposit. Also great as well.
I was doing my master's in 96, 97, and I remember they kind of going through we were doing the exploration phase, and we were looking at the kind of the case studies that we did. And Rio Tinto, well, the Neves Corvo discovery was drilling a gravity anomaly, and I think Las Cruces as well. That's Rio Tinto followed that, and they drilled the Las Cruces. Maybe you were involved in that discovery. It was a gravity anomaly, as I recall.
Yeah. So Neves Corvo was a gravity anomaly, quite right. In fact, hole number one, it's an interesting bit of history here, is that hole number one at Neves Corvo hit nothing. Yeah, they drilled a 400 or 500 metre hole. I think it was BRGM or someone like this, and they got nothing. And a couple of years later, they after doing some further modelling, they said, well, we can't explain the anomaly. There's what they call an excess mass. So there's something dense still in the ground that you need when you model it. You need to put something there to explain this anomaly. So they went back drilled it. And of course, they hit this phenomenal ore deposit, and over the next 20 years, they discovered a number of other ore bodies around that initial Nevis discovery. So,
what was the problem with the first hole? Was it just too shallow?
Well, the thing is, when you're drilling essentially blind targets, you can only do so much with your modelling. Without geology, without rock density information, and so on, you're really sort of guessing. You try and use your surface or whatever geology you've got, other information you've got to create a model of some sort. But it's not until you start, you drill a hole, you then get some rock density information, get some better three-dimensional geology, that you can then start to produce a more reliable model. And then and that gives you a better means of targeting. And that's what happened at Nevis Corvo. But it as I say, it took 20 or 30 years for them to discover all the various other deposits in and around that original discovery.
Well, and we've come back to the other thing about VMSs. The classic assumption is that these form in clusters. If I can recall my textbooks, typically they are lots of 2 to 3 million ton bodies in a cluster, and the average kind of cluster size it kind of total somewhere between kind of 5 and 10 million tons. Is that what you're looking for at Escacena, or is the pyrite belt different?
Yeah, so our concept has been that these deposits tend to occur in clusters. So, and all of the big ore deposits, all the mining operations in the Iberian Pyrite Belt are really built on clusters of deposits, not single ore bodies. So Nevis Corvo is made up 7 or 8 deposits. The original Rio Tinto mine, the biggest of them all, is made up of similar numbers, sort of 8 or so different deposits plus stockwork, etc. So our underlying concept is that if you find one, you've got a very good chance of finding others. And of course, we're exploring essentially, it's a grassroots exploration program. By that, yes, you know what I mean. We're essentially exploring for the first time in an area, and that's because the area that we're exploring is covered with post-mineral sediments. So it was essentially blind to the early explorers. Blind to the Romans didn't have the technology to explore undercover. They relied on seeing copper or whatever at surface to guide their exploration. But so our thesis has always been that they occur in clusters. You find one, you've got a good chance of finding others. And we're using gravity as a tool, an exploration tool, to help guide us in these mostly covered areas, because it has a very good track record of success in the Iberian Pyrite, not just Nevis Corvo. You mentioned Las Cruces. Hole number 1, testing the peak of the gravity anomaly, hit that ore body. They were very lucky. That doesn't often happen. Los Proles, just nearby, between about 6 kilometres from us or thereabouts, that was also discovered by drilling a gravity anomaly. In that case, it was not buried so much by post-mineral cover, but buried by other rock. So it was just a kilometre or so away from the original Asnocoya ore body, which had been a mine for couple of thousand years. So here is another ore body sitting right next door to it, not seen until someone tested the gravity anomaly. So gravity is a very effective tool in the belt. And when we acquired the land package, we've got the original Escacena area, we also acquired some of the old Exxon gravity survey information. It wasn't in the public domain. And then we digitised that information, and we could see a number of gravity anomalies which indicated the potential for clusters of deposits. And that's what we've been setting about testing. And of course, the very first gravity anomaly that we tested, I'll guide you through the exploration process. We ran 2 lines of gravity just to confirm the anomaly existed, and then we ran 1 line of IP, and then we said, okay, well, let's drill 2 holes quickly before we do a whole lot of other work, and let's see then get some geology information, some rock density information. We've got a valid target there with the IP. There was an IP anomaly as well. And we were very fortunate as well. We hit, what we call discovery holes in our first drilling on that deposit. But the idea was to get the rock density information, geology information, to better guide our exploration on that target. We were just very lucky, a bit like the process that was followed at Neves-Corvo.
So you've got a great result, by the way, on drilling straight into mineralization. You've since done 180 holes, mostly on La Romana. You've got Cañada Honda in the north. You've got the Bravo target in the east. Do each of these, in your minds, represent a kind of a 2 to 3 million ton target? I'm not going to say resource because you're not there yet. But are you hoping that each of these, in their own right, kind of gets you towards that 5 to 10 million ton bracket?
Well, I think our target is bigger than that. The global average for VMS deposit volcanic massive sulfide is about 8 to 10 million tonnes.
Yeah.
So in the Iberian Pyrite Belts, it's double that. So I mentioned most of the mines in the belt, sort of 40 to plus 100 million tonnes, made up of clusters of deposits to get that volume. So our target is to get somewhere at, let's say, 40, 50 million tonnes. And that would be a very solid standalone mining operation. So, Escacena, I think, began its life with about a 20 million tonne deposit. It's now grown. It's probably in excess of 100 million tonnes now, and so on. But that's really the size of the prize, I guess. Is do we have the targets there, the potential to find a cluster of deposits that would get us to that 40, 50 million tonne plus deposit, which is big in the world of VMS deposits, but big enough that, this is not only attract a standalone target, but would put a pretty big bullseye on their back in terms of bigger companies looking for copper assets.
Well, that brings us to the other definition of size, which is kind of value. What's the size of your market capitalization? And you're trading at a kind of a value of around $30 million Canadian today, and you say that you've got the indications, the geological indications that you can get towards. Let's call it a commercial. That's the target. You've got enough indications to think you're on that path, which is going to take time and money, yes, and geological de-risking, yes. But what would a 40, 50 million ton kind of deposit hold in terms of value? What's your market capitalization aspirations?
Well, I mean, at our peak, we were sitting at we got to about 180 million market cap. So that was when we only drilled, I think, 50, 60 drill holes. Obviously, we drilled 3 times that amount now. The deposit's still open. It's far more de-risked than it was at that stage. It's still open, it's still growing, and of course we've now built the portfolio of other targets up to drill-ready stage in the surrounding areas. So I think our chances of success have increased in terms of not only growing La Romana further, but also in terms of discovering additional deposits. And I think we're on to one at Cañada Honda. Bravo, the new one that we're enthusiastically working on at the moment, could be another. It's certainly got the size of gravity target, geochemistry, and all the number of other indications going for it, that it could be another big one.
Okay, well, so that's the target. Get back to $180 million, which is a mere 6 times where you are today. Okay, so, good. Let's talk about. Sorry,
I hope we can exceed that. Of course, that's. But look, that's. I think that's our objective. Let's get us get our market cap back to where it was, and then go from there.
Well, the best thing for that is exploration results. People love. If you can open up Bravo, then perhaps that will lead the path back to those heady heights. Let's talk about the cost now. The cost of the test. What does the next few months hold in terms of investment? And what are your objectives from the spend that you're about to do?
I guess, first of all, we mentioned 180 drill holes at La Romana. If I just step here a bit, the average depth of the drilling is about 200 metres. So, compared to a lot of modern exploration, people are drilling a lot deeper than that. I mean, Neves-Corvo is mining at over 1 kilometre depth. Escacena is at 700 metres depth. So the cost of for us to test Escacena is substantially less than testing some of these deeper targets and extensions to those ore bodies that some of the other companies are mining. So in terms of the plan, we've got, in fact, I would say at this time, our target portfolio for Pan Global is as strong, if not stronger, than I've ever seen it. Our frustration's been a tough market. It's been very, very difficult to get attention, with good results. I mean, it's just been a very tough market, not just us, but many, all the juniors really, particularly those the Canadian listed. So, a few weeks ago we started going through all of our target portfolio, working through what's the plan likely to look like. We came up with at least 60 drill holes that we could drill today, just in the Iberian Pyrite. So, that's we're working on the budget for that at the moment. A lot of those holes would be shallow holes, but that would give us a test. It would allow us to test maybe half a dozen targets, do some of the expansion drilling on La Romana, taking it to I guess the logical point of where we could be comfortable to put out a resource. In other words, we've delineated what we think might be the extents of that deposit, but importantly, make hopefully a couple of other discoveries in the immediate vicinity, along the lines of the still cluster concept. So, I guess the budget for that could be, anywhere from 5 to 10 million thereabouts. But we're working through that right at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, 60 holes. If you do them at 300 meters, yeah, absolutely. The resource that you talk about and the plan. Have you got kind of work in the interim that's kind of going alongside of this kind of budget planning, or are you going to come up with a kind of an operational update later in this? In this quarter,
the resource. I've been consistent all throughout that. We see considerable upside potential at La Romana, and we'd rather come out with a resource and the bigger number as we can be, and not to be too much of a rush to do that. But we're working methodically to that point.
Yeah.
We've got, we can see at least another 400 metres potential strike extension to the northwest. The last drilling results we put out showed what we call the higher grade, plus 1% copper mineralisation continuing in that direction. The northwesternmost hole was at 9 metres at 1.3% copper or thereabouts. So the system is very much alive and well out there, and the gravity's telling us still growing. And we've identified a couple of other areas where it could extend materially down dip. We can see potential for another 5 to 10 or maybe more million tonnes just from drilling some of the extensions to La Romana. So we want to do that work, and then we're comfortable putting out a resource. What are we doing in parallel to that? Well, it's the metallurgy. We're actually very advanced in a number of other areas, such that when we do come out with a resource, I expect we either come out with a PEA together with the resource or very soon after. We started our environmental baseline work, etc., 2 years ago. Our metallurgical test work is very advanced. We're at pre-feasibility level at this point. Probably 2/3 of the deposit that we've drilled so far would probably be in the measured and indicated category. We're very advanced on that. Our studies now, as far as metallurgy go, we're tweaking it. We've got some further news to report on that soon as well. But I think we've eked out a little bit more value and improvements to the metallurgy as well. But we're also that work we're doing is helping us with sizing equipment, sizing plants, etc. for building a mine. So we're quite well advanced on all those other fronts, such that we can move pretty quickly once we do come out with the resource, move towards a mining permit, and on we go. Finally, for that, really, it's a case of just getting out there and finishing that delineation drilling that we'd like to do. And we slowed down a bit this year, but we know very clearly where we want to drill. We're working on the numbers, final numbers for that extension drilling at the moment, and but I expect if things go well, we should be drilling that. Hopefully, drill it out by the middle of next year. That's like the ambition.
The 60 holes. I mean, if the average depth is 300 meters, that's 18,000 meters. If you put in a kind of an all-in drilling cost, including kind of the geology and the assaying and the logging, all of that, at $250, that's just under 5,000 US. You kind of talked about a budget of kind of between $5 and $10 million. Where are you kind of balance sheet wise on that quantum?
Yeah, so I think we've got about $1.5 million or thereabouts, bit less than that in the bank at the moment. So we're slowing down. We obviously don't have the money to drill that full program at the moment, but we're working on potentially another financing at some point. We're no different to any other exploration company. You need to raise money at some point, but we're exploring having a number of discussions and so on at the moment. But we'll look to top up the treasury at some point, knowing that we've got a very healthy target portfolio to go with. And I should say that 60 drill holes is not just La Romana. Within that, we're looking to test Bravo, some of the other targets. We want to step out along the Cañada Honda target. That's talk about size of target. That is a 3 kilometre long gravity anomaly. The dimensions, etc. It just looks just like Sotiel Migueles mine, which is one of Sandfire's mines. That's 100 million ton massive sulfide. It was made up of 5 different ore bodies, sort of along that trend. That's the scale of target we're looking at. So we've got some drilling for that and some new targets. So, but look, I'm very confident we're going to make additional discoveries in this area based on what we've seen.
It's the language you've been using, the kind of the extension drilling, delineation drilling, down dip, along strike, testing some of these, the targets like Bravo and the extensions of the gravity anomaly, the similarities with other deposits in the Iberian Belt, all of this, your confidence, it kind of addresses that third strap line, the chance of success, which makes it feel relatively low risk. You talked right at the beginning about being grassroots exploration, but actually, from where you are today, it's not grassroots exploration. This is kind of this is incremental increase on a rich data set already.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we know we've got something today, which we think could probably be standalone on it as it is, but to be competitive in terms of scale with some of the other bigger operations, we need to get that cluster of deposits, and that's what we're working on. We recognise to really create more value, to multiply the share price. If we make another discovery or 2 or 3, then that gives you that opportunity to do that. Incremental expansion on La Romana, while it has some benefit, you could see the bigger benefits from making, let's say, another 2 or 3 discoveries. That could really set the fire under the stock price, and that's really what we're trying to do. That balance, expand La Romana, but at the same time try and make another discovery somewhere else. Some of these things are not easy. Making discoveries is not an easy thing, as you know. I know. So we're trying to improve our chances of success, and I think more often than not, when we go and drill a hole, we're hitting mineralisation of some sort, or strong alteration or something. So that's telling us that our concepts, our targeting work, is working. So I think it's I'm, as I say, with the work we've done over the last 12, 18 months, to advance some of these other targets, to get them drill ready, I'm very confident that amongst those targets that are drill ready now, they're going to make additional discoveries. Bravo is just one of them, but that's obviously a pretty exciting one given its location relative to La Romana.
Tim, go get them, make those discoveries. I know how hard it is.
Well, it's I think that's the skill with exploration, is to try and improve your chances of success all along. And fortunately, we are in a tremendous geological environment. We're in an area that sort of, because it's undercover because of ownership history. It was a window within this otherwise pretty heavily explored area that had escaped the exploration that we're doing today. So we're sort of fortunate. It's more like a brownfields environment, but we're doing grassroots exploration in this area, and we've already shown we've got some success straight out of the gate with that one.
Tim, thank you very much for the update, and good luck with the ongoing work program.
So yeah, good talking to you, Brian.